The
Hopefully
other
it
thing
doesn't
that's
cut out. Go ahead.
been the other thing that's been really already transformational this year is like a lot of people who are watching this, they're going to be specialists realistically and
Mm-hmm.
solo people, which I was for a lot of years, but now I've got a team around me. And, it's not an overnight thing to onboard a team. I don't care about how many automations you have and SOPs and
Yep.
automated SOPs and AI tools. It does take years to get people up to speed to be not only at the same technical level as you, but also to think the same way you think, especially if you're leading the company or leading the clients and that's working. Like the way we operate is based on my initial thinking patterns, which works. But now, after about one team members at 2 years and another one, my executive assistants at about 8 months now, it is game changing. Like I never was like, oh, they should have been up to here at this point. I just was always like, everyone's getting better each day. But now it's at the point where they're so good that they're taking work off my plate, but not only taking work off my plate, they're proactively taking it off my plate before I'm even aware that it's there. So an email will come in and
Very
my
nice.
assistant will deal with it or give it to someone else. So then by the time I'm aware of it, it's already been actioned. It just needs my final approval. And I think that's something people should really look out for. I know, Cory, you go solo because of like you've run a team before, and like sometimes it's got to be the right people at the right time for
Oh yeah.
you, and also just giving them enough time. Like I think a lot of people expect it to be faster than it is. Like treat it like it's going to take 3 times as long, and then you won't be disappointed, and you'll actually get a better outcome because you're not putting unrealistic stress onto people that doesn't need to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, you can't duplicate the mindset of the CEO or the founders, right? It just doesn't happen overnight. And every new employee, they need time to acclimate to that new system, that new
Yeah.
way of thinking and approaching things. I've been a part of either in-house or consulting with a lot of different agencies that have different methods, right? Some of them are very templated. It's like, here's exactly how you build a search campaign, use only these match types, never use this. Here's our list of negative keywords that we apply to every account, etc. And it's very standardized. And that works for some people. Some people's mindset is like, okay, I'm okay with that. Other people want that autonomy, that creative flexibility to say, like, you know what? Here's how we usually do it. Here's our general methods. Our CEO or founder, he kind of established these, but we're also game for you to bring your own innovation,
Yeah.
your own ideation to these processes. If you feel like this isn't appropriate for a given client's objectives, go for it. You do what you think is best. I think for most people, Michael, tell me if I'm lying, that's what they're looking for, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
even regardless of people who are beginners to extremely advanced, even beginners think that their knowledge is like the most profound knowledge because the ignorance of like the beginner's ignorance is actually like so beautiful and blissful because you don't know what you don't know. And as you get more advanced, you realize how much more there is to master. And you kind of
Yeah.
get to the point where you realize I'm never going to master it all. But I agree. I agree. I literally say this to my team. I'm like, I trust you guys. Do whatever you need to do. I say it every day. I'm like, do whatever you need to do. Just like for some client things, just let me have the final tick of approval before it goes live. And no financial decisions are made without my consent, or no purchases are made without my consent, which is a like similar principle to what Warren Buffett does. It's like he just like goes like all the financial decisions are made by him, or the
Okay.
capital allocation.
So you're not
So
the type of owner to just give the company credit card for a weekend and say,
right.
guys, go ahead.
Yeah, and then like my team embezzles like millions of dollars out of me. Yes, sweet. That's the interesting thing is there's all these narratives on in business where people are like, I had to fail 3 times before like I became successful, like all this stuff.
Sure.
And then you hear about the stories where they fail and you're like, this is actually just like really simple dumb shit. So that narrative in your mind that you got to fail like 3 or 4 times before you big win, I actually don't think needs to be there anymore, because if you just read enough books about other people's failures and observe other people's failures, you won't go down those roads. One of my best friends, I always say this to him, so it's not like I'm not taking a shot at him. He's got an agency that's quite a bit ahead of mine, but the reason I love it, I've never got like in like I'm like, oh, he's so far ahead, I'm so behind. I always go, because I hang out with him every few weeks and we go to the markets together and we just chat. He will just dump onto me all the chaos that's happening in his business, all the ways he's losing money. I'm like, Thank you. I'm like, thank you. Because then all I got to do is like mentally put a like a framework in my mind not to do that. So I've always been able to constantly grow because I've got all these other people ahead of me transparently showing me where all the like the failures are. So
Yeah.
where they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and losing it, or like team member failures and all this stuff, I just get to garner that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, going back to the money thing, no, because I'm not going to let people spend money that I don't have final say over.
That's fair. That's fair. Awesome. All right, Michael, was there anything in the news that came up that you thought was particularly interesting? I thought there was a few things. I'm going to pull up.
Mate, I'm actually just going to ask you something.
Sure.
And it's just going to be really simple. I mean, I know we can rant about it, but it's just
Sure.
really just like, we're starting the year off. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things changing.
Yeah.
The results I've seen over the last few months with clients has been the best ever, but we didn't do anything complicated. We actually simplified a lot of the work, the strategies, and just really aligned even further with the client. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to know just quickly, top of mind stuff, 2025 predictions in terms of Google Ads, advertising, AI, client relationships, the whole enchilada, because it all is like this kind of sphere that we work in.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Just top of mind things that are going to be changing or going to be important?
I would say again, this is not totally prepared for it, but I would say we've been talking a lot in the industry the last couple of years about attribution and
Mm.
proper measurement, and I don't mean conversion tracking. I think even though there's a lot of accounts out there that still don't have uh, accurate conversion tracking, etc., in the PPC space, I mean more measurement in terms of attribution and incrementality. I
Mm.
think that is going to be one of the most, if not the most important marketing skills that you could improve upon this year as someone that does online marketing. And even if you're just a C-level executive and you are looking at improving your skill set across the marketing landscape, I'm personally focused on that quite a lot. That's one big thing that started changing for me near the end of last year is putting in place more robust tool sets and methods to actually really truly track incrementality for my accounts and the campaigns that are inside of those accounts. So I'd say for me, there's a lot of different things on my mind, but I think that's the most prominent one is attribution incrementality measurement.
Now, incrementality is in over time the increment of sales growth,
Oh,
profitability,
okay. So
brand
yeah.
awareness.
So essentially, we're talking when we're talking about incrementality, and the way I'm talking about it is more measuring whether something that was done, in this case, like a marketing effort, was truly influenced by, like the outcome was truly influenced by that marketing effort, or would the results otherwise the results would have happened anyway, right? So
Yeah, yep.
incrementality saying this thing that we did actually made a difference. It wouldn't have happened if we hadn't have done this thing.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Now, do you tend to look at that because you run the Google Ads account from the Google Ads perspective, or would you look at other marketing efforts done by the company, being it a promotion or a product launch or some other
Uh,
type of thing?